Hi, my name is Melinda Smith from Noble Works, the leading provider of Enneagram workshops in Australia. This video is part of a series about this ancient tool for personality profiling and development called the Enneagram. We've partnered with Port Stephens Council in New South Wales, Australia, to share our learnings about the value of using the Enneagram as a tool for personal and organisational transformation in the workplace. The Council has made a significant commitment during the past decade to develop staff to be the best they can be by using the Enneagram. Self-awareness is a key leadership competency. Self-aware people transform themselves and their organisations. In this episode, we'll be talking about the Enneagram Type 9. I'm here with Chris Abbott from Port Stephens Council, who is going to share with us how the knowledge of the Enneagram has improved and helped develop relationships and performance, personally and professionally. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been working for Council for the past 15 years, managing Council's library service. We have 4 library branches here, and I have a wonderful team of 21 permanent staff, 12 casuals and 42 volunteers, including 2 assistance dogs, which everyone just loves. And I guess, you know, when I'm not working at work, you'd probably find me just sort of exploring Port Stephens. I'm lucky enough to live in a beautiful part of the world, so I'm always outdoors, you know, investigating new parts of Port Stephens that I haven't explored yet. So, yeah.
So, as a manager, how have you been using the Enneagram to work with the people that you lead and manage?
Well, all the permanent library staff have been trained in the Enneagram and they know their type. So we tend to use it, I guess, in terms of understanding ourselves and each other much better, working more closely together, supporting each other, building our relationships, you know, that sort of thing. We tend to use the Enneagram in our one-on-one interactions, in our group team meeting situations, and we find that, I think in particular, the knowledge that we now have of each type really helps us to formulate our approach and our response to each other, which has been very beneficial.
Okay, well, I want to talk about that a little bit further down the track.
Okay.
You are a Type 9.
Yes.
Can you bring us into the world of a Type 9? What does that look like?
Well, several names have been given to the Type 9. The most common is the peacemaker. But type 9s are also known as the mediator, harmoniser or connector. So I guess for me as a Type 9, it's just important that people get along with each other. I like harmony and for things to be comfortable for myself and for others. I guess I'm very accepting and inclusive, and I'm often told that I'm quite calm and contained, which I think I am, but what people wouldn't always see is that sometimes I can be like that duck, just sort of calmly gliding through the water, but the feet are paddling like crazy underneath. I suppose I work hard and I like structure, predictability and routine. I like people to be respectful of each other and to do the right thing. I think I'm a pretty good listener, and I find that people do tend to come to me to talk through their issues, and you know, if I had a friend with a problem, I'd listen to them for as long as they needed. So with me, I guess what you see is what you get. I'm fairly modest and unpretentious, and I don't necessarily like being the centre of attention, but occasionally I like to be appreciated for what I do. So I think, look, 9s don't enjoy conflict. I don't enjoy conflict. It makes me feel uncomfortable, but I've learned to mediate it, whereas in the past I think I would have actively avoided it. And in the past, I've had difficulty saying no, because I like to please others and not let them down. And probably the only other thing is you'd rarely see me overtly angry. I don't get angry, but having said that, I can get annoyed and frustrated many times a day. And I know I can be a little bit like a pressure cooker, so if I tend to stew on things or things just sort of build, then there might be just the straw that breaks the camel's back and I'll have a blow up. But my version of a blow up, others probably wouldn't notice either.
Okay, well, I want to come back to that. Okay. Before we get there, what are some of the strengths and the gifts that a Type 9 bring to a working environment?
Gifts? I'm not sure if they're gifts. Well, I think I'm pretty easy to get along with. I think 9s are fairly sort of open, relaxed, approachable, friendly, and we care about the people we work with. We're very patient and supportive. We're good at listening. I think we tend to be able to see different viewpoints and then sort of find areas of commonality to bring people together. They say that 9s are very good bridge builders, so that might be the case. We like to lead by consensus and for people to participate and be heard, because I think that's important in building strong teams. We're fairly responsible. We like to do a good job and be accountable. We pay attention to the details. And I think type 9s tend to promote a fairly calm, consistent, measured environment. So they bring a sort of sense of harmony and peace and balance to the workplace, and I think others just feel at ease with them. We're very inclusive and collaborative, and I guess we're very diplomatic as well. So we're able to build consensus and bring our people along with us.
You've been working with the Enneagram for a while now. What have you learned that's been able to improve your leadership skills for yourself and for others?
I think one of the big things I've learned is that sometimes I need to put my needs first rather than worrying about everyone else, because I tend to look after everybody else before myself, and I know that there can be a bit of self-forgetting in my makeup. So if I feel no, I need to say no. In the past I would have just said yes or gone along with something and perhaps later resented it. I've learnt that I need to be more decisive and watch for procrastination. I think if there's too many options or there's a big task that requires a lot of my focus and energy, I can just, it becomes overwhelming, and I think I can just easily slip into avoidance mode, so I'll put off making a decision or taking action. So I've put some strategies in place now where I can I know to prioritise better and to take action sooner. I think I'm more aware of my physiological response to conflict as well, so it makes me feel uncomfortable, but I've learnt if it arises, just deal with it. And I think, like anything, the more you do something, the better you get at it. So
you touched on anger before. We see you cool, calm and collected up top, but maybe not so down the bottom. What does stress or anger look like for a type 9? What does that feel like? What are your trigger points there? What gets a type 9 angry?
If I'm pushed to making a decision when I'm not ready, or if I don't have enough information. I really don't like being told what I need to do and what I should do. That really just puts my ankles
You need
up.
to come to that conclusion?
Yeah, I need to come to that myself. If someone's telling me what's good for me or what,
That's most of us.
I've been pushed into that, yes. Dealing with conflict, I'm much better at it now, but it still causes me a degree of stress. Saying no to somebody and having that person potentially, pardon me, upset or angry, that sometimes can be stressful, and making a tough decision that others mightn't like can be stressful, but I've learned to deal with that.
So if I was working with a type 9 in a working environment, what could I do to build a really strong relationship with the type 9?
Ask lots of questions, be present, really be present and give them your full attention, and listen, and really listen. I think encourage them to participate because they have a lot of practical wisdom to offer. Get them to talk about how they're feeling, ask them how they're feeling. Value their contribution, I think, and recognise work well done. And give them time to think about things, because if they are allowed to have that time, they'll provide you with a really thoughtful and considered response. And I think create a pleasant instruction environment and just be honest, fair and respectful with them. That's all they need.
It's not a lot to ask, Chris, not a lot to ask. So just wrapping up, you've worked with the Enneagram for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
In your role here at Port Stephens Council, what do you see as the real value that this tool has brought to the organisation?
I think overall I've witnessed better relationships, just in relation to that whole awareness around knowing ourselves and each other a lot better, and obviously the knowledge of the Enneagram. I think learning the 9 different points of view has really helped us to understand people's motivations, their behaviours, their needs and concerns, and also their style of working and relating. That's been really important. I think we really, as an organisation now, we appreciate and value the diversity of types within teams and across the organisation. And I've seen a lot of improvement in staff interactions, communication, teamwork, productivity, performance, decision making, right across the board. And I think finally for me, just on a personal note and maybe as a leader within the organisation, the increase in self-awareness has been key. I think the knowledge of the Enneagram has really, it keeps me constantly, or I guess it enables me to challenge those sort of hardwired, habitual patterns of thinking and feeling and behaving. So yeah, it's just been a wonderful tool all round.
Chris, thank you for taking the time today to share your story and what the world's like for a Type 9.
Thanks, Melinda. Appreciate it.
Join us for another episode where you can learn more about each of the 9 Enneagram personality types as people share their journey, observations and insights. Also, check out our podcast series, Understanding Your Enneagram, on iTunes or our website.